getting to do some of the homework practice problems. Okay, so let's look at some of these. It says find the common ratio for each geometric sequence and use R to find the next three terms. So we're going to do problem number 5 here. So you're looking at pattern. We talked about this before, pattern. What is the pattern? That is going down. Now, how's it going down? You're dividing by -2 or multiplying by -1/2. Okay, that's how they want to approach R. So R here is -1/2. Even though it's dividing by -2, R is what you're multiplying by. So you got to think of that as a fraction. So what you want to do to get your next three terms is just take -9, -2, so that would be 9/2. So that's the next term, okay? Then you take 9/2, multiply that times -1/2, and that's going to be -9/4. And then you do it again, -9/4 times -1/2. Two negatives make a positive, and you get 9/8. And that would be your next three terms. Okay, find the indicated term of each sequence by repeatedly multiplying the first term by the common ratio. It says use a calculator. So we're doing basically the same thing. To note, this is term 1, term 2, term 3. We want the fifth term. Now what's happening here? These are going up. How are they going up? You're multiplying by 8. Now again, if you don't remember in the lesson, what we did is we said take your second term, divide it by your first term, and that'll tell you what your R is. Okay. So I take 64, and obviously this is why they want you to use a calculator. 64 times 8. 64 times 8, if you do that, is what, 512? Okay, so that's my fourth term. That's what would be next. Then I take 512, multiply that by 8. Let's see, what would that, 4,000, what is that, 4,096? I think that's right. And that would be your fifth term. Okay, next. Solve. You may use a calculator and round your answer to the nearest tenth of a unit if necessary. A ball is dropped from a height of 900 centimeters. The table shows the height of each bounce. The heights form a geometric sequence. How high does the ball bounce on the fifth bounce? So this is basically the same exact problem as what we just did. It's wanting the fifth term. This time they are decreasing because as the ball bounces, it's going to go down. So we're really just completing the table, but it's the same as the previous problem. So I need term 4, term 5 is what I'm looking for. Again, how do I get my R? You take the second term and divide it by the first term. So if I do that, that's 0.7. So my R here is 0.7. If they wanted it as a fraction, you would type 7/10. So what am I going to do? I'm now going to get my fourth term by taking 392, and I'm going to multiply that by 0.7. Okay, so 392 times 0.7, and that is 274.4. Then I take that and multiply that times 0.7. So times 0.7, and that gives me 192.08. It says round to the nearest tenth, so that would round to 192.1. Okay. Just looking at these, I'm not going to work them out, but again, just evaluating. A biologist studying ants starts on day 1 with a population of 15,000. On day 2, there were 3,000. So what's happening? They're going up, okay? The increase in the population can be represented by using a geometric sequence. What is the ant population on day 5? So the same concept. You go through the same process. Here again, how high does the ball bounce on the 8th bounce? Same concept. You just have to carry it on down through 8. So just a continuation of the same principle. A turtle population grows in a manner that can be represented by a geometric sequence. Given the table of values, determine the turtle population after 6 years. So what's happening here? These are going up. How? You're multiplying by 3. So again, you continue to go on. I do want to look at problem number 21 here real quick. Consider the geometric sequence. Select all that apply. The common ratio is 2. That is false. Okay, because you have sign changes. So anytime you have sign changes, the common ratio is always going to be a negative. The fifth term of the sequence is negative 128. The common ratio really should have been R is actually negative 2. So to get the fourth term, you take negative 32, multiply that times negative 2, and you get 64. Multiply that times negative 2, and you get negative 128. So that is true. Okay, so the next one asks the seventh term is 4 times the fifth term. Okay, so let's think about this. If I have term 5, to get term 6, what do? I multiply that times negative 2. Then I take term 6 and multiply that times negative 2 to get to the seventh term. So to get from the fifth to the seventh, I'm doing this right here. Negative 2 times negative 2, which is times 4. So that is true. That is true. Okay, so just some conceptual things to think about right there. And then it goes on the 8th term, and you just continue on. So hopefully this has made sense and will help you on the homework.